Now you'll remember for the rest of your life what the Estonian flag looks like, the adult said, pointing at the red flag on the wall. I was probably 6 or 7 years old. In art class, our assignment was to draw our country's flag. For some reason, it was very important. I didn't understand why. Art was our first class that morning. On my way to school, I thought about only one thing. What did the Estonian flag actually look like? I had no idea. The school was being painted. There were paint cans, tall ladders, and painters in overalls all around the building. The air smelled like fresh paint. Now a tall ladder stood by the main entrance. At the top was a painter I knew. He was always kind to us children. He laughed a lot, the kind of laugh that made you want to laugh too. I was so lost in thought that I walked straight into the ladder. I froze. My first thought was that everyone would be angry with me. But the painter looked down, smiled, and asked, "What is a little girl thinking about so seriously that she walks into a ladder this big?" I hesitated for a moment. Then I asked, "What does the Estonian flag look like?" "I have to draw it today," he answered immediately. "The Estonian flag is blue, black, and white." The other painters laughed. I thanked him and ran happily to my art class. I wasn't very good at school. It felt nice to already know the right answer. I drew my flag as carefully as I could. I wasn't completely sure what order the colors belonged in, but in the end I was happy with it. Then I looked around the classroom. Something seemed strange. Everyone else was drawing a red flag. It had yellow shapes on it. I didn't know what they meant. I just thought everyone else must have misunderstood the assignment. After all, I had asked an adult. At the end of class, I handed my drawing to the teacher. The next day, she stopped me in the hallway. She grabbed my arm tightly. I knew immediately that I had done something wrong. She took me to the principal's office. There were many adults there. I recognized the principal. The others were strangers. My drawing was lying on the table. They kept asking why I had drawn that flag. Then someone pointed at the red flag on the wall and said, "The Estonian flag is red." Suddenly I recognized it. I had seen it before. I realized I had drawn the wrong flag. I didn't understand why it was such a serious thing. I had made mistakes at school before. Usually you just got a bad grade. Then you tried to do better next time. I told them who had told me the colors. Then we went outside. I had to point out which man it had been. They gave me a letter to take home to my mother. I was more afraid of my mother than anything else. She was called to the school. Everything was gone through all over again. They asked me over and over, "Will you remember for the rest of your life what the Estonian flag looks like?" I promised. I would have promised anything if it meant all of this would end, and if it meant my mother wouldn't get into trouble because of me. To my surprise, she wasn't angry with me. The next morning, I went back to school. I wanted to see the painter. I thought maybe he would smile at me again. The other painters were already working. No one was laughing. The tallest ladder was empty. I never saw the laughing painter again.